On April 30th, 2010, a movie hit theaters that I have been looking forward to for a long time. This movie had grabbed my attention with its posters, commercials, and advertising. I was planning to see this movie with two friends of mine, but neither of them made it that night, so I was forced to watch this movie alone in the forbidding darkness of the movie theater. I sat in my seat and braced myself, for I was setting up to see the horror movie I had been waiting months to see. Bravely, I sat alone and faced A Nightmare on Elm Street, 2010. Okay, so before I start this review, let me just say one thing. I love this movie. I'm serious. I mean, it's not the best thing ever. It's not breathtaking like, say, The Dark Knight. But it's at least entertaining. And a very scary, very fun watch. Now, the story follows Nancy Holbrook, played by Rooney Mara, and her boyfriend Quentin Smith, played by Kyle Gallner, as they and their friends are plagued by nightmares of a man with a burnt face, dirty hat, and razor blades on his right hand. Before long, these dreams start becoming all too real, as their friends start dying one at a time at the hands of this mysterious figure calling himself Freddy, played by Jackie Earle Haley. As time goes further on, Nancy and Quentin find themselves alone against this terrifying threat, struggling to stay awake long enough to discover Freddy's identity and the mystery surrounding him. Now, even though this movie is often referred to as a remake, it does manage to distance itself from the original Wes Craven film very well. It doesn't try to copy the Psycho remake by having every last scene reshot frame by frame. Nope. Instead, it presents us with an entirely different story with entirely different characters, including Freddy himself, making this more of a reimagining than a remake. Now, one of the major complaints surrounding this movie is the absence of actor Robert Englund, who is most well known for his role as Freddy Krueger in every Nightmare on Elm Street movie up to this point, including Freddy vs. Jason. But I think Jackie Earle Haley did a good job. I mean, come on, this is the same guy who played as Rorschach in Watchmen. I don't know about you guys, but I think the guy's got talent. Besides, wouldn't it feel more like a new installment to the original franchise if Englund did play as Freddy Krueger? Personally, I think the recasting for Freddy was a good idea. Really makes the whole thing feel like an entirely new franchise. The acting in this movie is actually not that bad. The story is interesting, especially with the whole mystery angle surrounding Freddy and his origins. This is a movie that begs to ask the question, was Freddy innocent? Is he after these kids because he was wrongly killed? Whatever the cause, it made him very angry. And that's another thing I like about this movie, Freddy Krueger himself. It's a welcome change from the formerly campy, laugh-out-loud Freddy that he would eventually become. This Freddy is dark, serious, and mad as heck. Here's a guy who is hell-bent on getting his revenge on these kids. He may not be the menacing psychotic slasher who had fun killing and terrorizing his victims, like in the first movie, but he's still intimidating nonetheless. Now, there are some flaws with the movie. For one thing, the CGI in certain areas is pretty bad. And when I say certain areas, I mainly refer to their redo of the Freddy coming out of the wall gag. Now, this didn't do anything to badly hinder the film for me, as I still felt a sense of menace from the scene, but yeah, the CGI was pretty bad. I mean, it was passable, but could have been done a whole lot better. Another thing that got to me was the fact that Freddy dropped at least one or two puns each time he showed up in this movie, and he shows up a lot. He gets a lot of screen time. Now, I don't have a problem with Freddy's puns, but they did seem to pile on quite a bit. The ending of the film is what you'd expect from any typical slasher movie. But what's interesting is that it still manages to shock you in the way that it's done, and the song that plays during the credits only helps along the creepy atmosphere. Overall, this is a satisfying slasher movie. Sure, it may have a few goofs here and there, and it does have the names of Platinum Dunes and Michael Bay slapped onto it, therefore encouraging prejudice, but I'd still highly recommend it. If you can get past the fact that Jackie Earle Haley brings back his Rorschach voice for this role, and that Nancy isn't quite as strong as she was in the original movie, you'll probably enjoy it okay. I mean, this isn't trying to be like the original series. This is a whole new franchise, and that's the best way to look at it. This film, for me, gets a 4 out of 5. I'm Razor9350, and I'll be seeing you later.